It's been more than a year since the U.S. Supreme Court changed the country and legalized gay marriage.
It's the festival of thousands of fabulous people, where it doesn't matter how old you are, whether you're a boy or girl.
I like girl stuff, so I like to, because this festival is a great opportunity to go here.
Who you love, how you dress.
I have a lot of outfits, and all of wings, so I'm pretty girly with all of this.
Or where you come from.
I'm from a little town about 30 minutes north of here called Hutto. Being all the, every age group and every gender, it's really awesome because I get to see that there's old people that are gay, there's young people that are learning about themselves.
I love you, sister.
And the 2016 Austin Pride Festival wraps up this weekend.
Hi, Austin.
With history being made.
It's Austin Pride.
For the first time, a transgender woman won the Miss Austin Pride pageant. She says being Miss Pride Austin 2016 is more than just a title.
And here, there's no judgment. There's no box you have to fit into. There's nothing that says you have to fit that cookie cutter mold. And you can just be yourself, and everybody loves everybody.
A celebration of love and people, making Pride something Little Max says is his favorite.
Kate Drumgoole thought she would never be fired from her job here at Paramus Catholic as a basketball coach and guidance counselor, but that is exactly what happened after photos were posted of her wedding day.
She was at the height of her game, head coach of the basketball team, a guidance counselor. The couple had just bought their first home, and they were still newlyweds. On January 8th, that all changed. She was called in for a meeting with school administrators.
I was told that they had become aware that I was in a same-sex marriage and that it was against the Catholic tenets, and that I had until January 15th, which was that Friday, to resign or that I would be terminated.
Now they're suing.
Is there anything you would say directly to the church?
This is just so wrong. And that for an organization who preaches love, this is not love. This is not acceptance. This goes against everything that they claim to preach.
In 2016, discrimination, either public or private, is unacceptable. My clients have a constitutional right to get married.
It's not going well for her, and she desperately needs this care.
Daniel Tilley says the past 2 years have been like a living nightmare for his client, 22-year-old Rain Cohane. Cohane was born a man, but began identifying as a woman at a young age. In 2014, she pled guilty to stabbing her roommate inside this Fort Myers apartment and was sentenced to 15 years in prison.
She had been receiving treatment for gender dysphoria prior to her incarceration. That treatment should have continued. It was not.
Which is why Tilley filed this 31-page lawsuit on Monday, demanding the Department of Corrections continue Cohane's hormone treatment like they would for any other inmate with a medical issue. But most taxpayers we spoke to do not agree.
As a taxpayer, I do not think that's where my tax money should go.
I don't think I should be responsible for it.
This is something special. You just don't give people that commit crimes a present.
So I brought their concerns to Cohane's attorney.
What would you say to taxpayers who don't believe they should have to pay for your client's hormone treatment?
Well, the fact is that they pay for a wide variety of treatments. We have a constitution, and that constitution requires that folks in state custody receive treatment for their serious medical needs.
Colin Kaepernick decided to take a stand by sitting down. The 49ers quarterback did not stand with the rest of his teammates during the playing of the Star-Spangled Banner Friday night before a preseason game against the Packers at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara. Kaepernick said, "I'm not going to stand up to show pride in a flag for a country that oppresses black people and people of color. To me, this is bigger than football, and it would be selfish on my part to look the other way. There are bodies in the street and people getting paid leave and getting away with murder." The NFL released this statement: "We recognize the right of an individual to choose to participate or not participate in our celebration of the national anthem. The NFL does not require players to stand for the anthem."
While a U.S. Army unit has described Hillary Clinton as a potential threat from within. Her picture appeared alongside the photos of whistleblowers Edward Snowden and Chelsea Manning in a slide from a training class that was widely circulated online. RT's Caleb Mopan took to the streets of Washington to ask Americans if they agree with the threat assessment.
Insider threat, a disgruntled or careless employee.
Obama.
No.
This guy. I don't know.
Do you think?
I think Clinton.
And why do you think that?
Because she's a liar. Oh my God. America.
And you're right. So they listed, the guy who shot up the fort.
Caleb, when you talk,
Bradley Manning. Oh, Bradley Manning, Edward Snowden, others. Who do you think that they put there?
Hillary Clinton.
Yeah. You think it was Hillary Clinton?
Yeah. Well, she can't be trusted, and everything she says lies. She's Teflon Jane. I mean, everything she does is just falls off her back.
So, do you trust Hillary Clinton?
Yeah, I probably trust her.
Even after the email scandal?
Sure.
Do you have any guesses about who the person was?
No clue.
Okay, what if I told you it was a very prominent person?
Could be like Hillary with her email leakage.
You were right. In the streets of Washington, D.C., a lot of people thought the idea of Hillary Clinton as a security risk wasn't strange at all.
Completely dead. There's one over there that one's probably going to die. You can start to see how they start to look a little different.
It's a guessing game at Stokey Farms.
This tree may make it.
Suzanne Stokey says this is the worst drought her family has seen in several decades.
So there's, varying degrees of damage.
Of the 9,000 new Christmas trees planted this spring, Stokey estimates around 15% will never end up holding tinsel.
Something tiny is now a huge threat to Florida's $500 million tomato crop.
As NBC2's Devin Turk discovered, a new pest could threaten farmers and raise the cost at the grocery store.
The whitefly is only about a millimeter in size. It's a little pest that could have a big effect in one of Southwest Florida's most important industries. The produce section is busy at this East Naples grocery store.
That's all I eat is fresh produce. I don't like canned, I don't like frozen.
But could a small pest called the whitefly threaten Florida's produce? That's the $500 million question.
For sure I'd be concerned about that. Yeah, I would be concerned.
Farmers have managed the impacts of the pest for years, but a different biotype of the whitefly has people paying attention. The new Q type has only been found in home landscaping and nurseries so far, but it has a greater tolerance to the insecticides that are currently in use. The widespread fear is the pest may have the potential to spread the disease to crops and vegetables. It's still yet to be seen how exactly this pest could affect the crops. Right now, farmers here in Southwest Florida are actually putting their seeds in the ground to prepare for the fall's harvest, so that's something they're definitely keeping their eye on.
Banana exports globally totaled $11 billion last year, with 60% coming from Latin America. But now a disease caused by 3 different fungi called Sigatoka is infecting the leaves of banana plants worldwide.
Nearly all of the bananas that are exported and the ones that you buy at the grocery store like these are of the Cavendish type. That is, they share the same genetic background. That creates a problem because it means all of them are susceptible to the same disease.
University of California Davis professor Ioannis Sturgiopoulos says one of the most virulent forms, black Sigatoka, is reducing banana yields globally by about 40%. It can spread quickly through soil, water, and even wind. Right now, the industry's best protection is good hygiene and vigilant use of fungicides.
A lot of monitoring and phytosanitary methods are being applied to control these diseases at the moment. However, we need sustainable solutions. And sustainable solutions mean creating a resistant banana.
Breeding a new variety is difficult because the Cavendish type don't have seeds. Genetic engineering to create a resistant banana is also a possibility, though it's questionable whether the public will accept such a product.
You might think buildings in the United States can better withstand an earthquake like the one that hit Italy, but Carter Evans has learned many buildings in California are not earthquake ready.
The centuries-old towns pulverized in the Italy quake are far from the Los Angeles skyline, both in distance and construction style. But Caltech seismologist Lucy Jones warns the destruction from a shallow earthquake centered here would look very similar.
We have buildings all over the state that are 100 years old, so unless they've been retrofitted, they are just as vulnerable as the buildings in Italy.
Brick buildings crumbled in downtown Napa when a 6.0 quake struck in 2014. But damage was limited because many had already been strengthened. If that building isn't reinforced, what happens to it in a large earthquake?
Well, unreinforced mainstream buildings like that without any seismic strengthening is essentially what I call death box.
Kit Miyamoto is a California Seismic Safety Commissioner and a structural engineer. His company strengthens buildings like this one in downtown LA.
Before this was reinforced, if this big earthquake happened here, this will have the major damage, even collapse.
Even though it's all concrete?
Of course, because this anything built prior to 1980s, it considered to be really dangerous.
The city of Los Angeles alone has identified 13,500 small residential apartment buildings that need strengthening. Experts say even many of the newer buildings in California are only designed to be earthquake resistant. That means they're built to allow people to get out alive. But Rena, they may not necessarily be inhabitable afterward.
On Sunday, the 28th of August, the Central Metropolitan Region, on behalf of the New South Wales Police Force, is holding the largest multi-agency emergency management exercise ever held in New South Wales. The exercise is designed to test a range of emergency management arrangements in response to a large-scale incident within the Sydney CBD. Due to the scale of the exercise, we are calling on members of the public over the age of 18 to volunteer and be part of the day with emergency services. The scale is such that we require 300 volunteers who will play the role of members of the public who might have family or friends involved in the incident.
15 combat ships of Russian Navy enter the Black Sea. According to Russia's defense ministry, the commandment has relocated the vessels in order to check their military battle readiness. 10 more ships are now awaiting the orders in the Caspian Sea. Military drills are also unfolding close to Ukrainian and Baltic borders, as well as on the occupied Crimean Peninsula. Lithuanian authorities already claimed that Russian military exercises contribute to the crisis escalation in the region. Vilnius says conducting drills near Lithuanian borders is a mere provocation. Poland's defense ministry also called the urgent meeting in view of Russian possible provocations in Kaliningrad region, bordering Poland. Russia has started simultaneous military drills along the borders with neighboring countries. Southern, Western and Central military regions, Northern Fleet and other army resources are set to remain on full combat alert. They will spend several days checking the forces' readiness.
Ukrainian armed forces have successfully tested a new type surface-to-surface missile system in Odessa, a port city in the country's south. The Ukraine-made ballistic missile named Vika can hit targets 300 kilometers away. The country's Security Council also says the missiles can be armed with various warheads. No technical details were released, but the government says Ukraine's new missile system is better than similar Russian prototypes.
On the occasion of the Iranian Government Week, the country's defense ministry has unveiled its latest military equipment developed by the ministry's National Geographical Organization. The military hardware, all made by Iranian specialists, gives Iranian armed forces an edge in digital mapping and cartography. Among them is this portable quick mapping system, which is capable of providing aerial and land photo geometric maps. The newly introduced systems enhance armed forces' capabilities to collect data on strategic and sensitive points. They also enable the Army to gain access to very hard-to-reach terrains and calculate the most sensitive data about the designated areas. These are just a few out of countless other major achievements Iran has made in its defense sector in recent years. Now, Iranian officials say that these capabilities have made Iran reach a level of deterrent power that can make it stand against any foreign aggression.
Head of Germany's Federal Office for Migration and Refugees, Frank-Jürgen Weiss, says the country is gearing up for the arrival of 250,000 to 300,000 asylum seekers. Weiss also says if the number exceeds the estimated figure, it will put further pressure on his office, adding such a scenario would be unlikely. Germany registered some 1.1 million refugees in 2015. Germans are divided on the issue of asylum seekers as a number of anti- and pro-refugee rallies have been held in the past couple of months. Europe is grappling with its worst refugee crisis since the end of World War II.
Violence has flared up at the French port town of Calais. Migrants have come up with a new way of sneaking onto lorries headed to Britain. A video has emerged showing alleged smugglers using felled trees as well as large branches to force drivers to stop and let stowaways get on board.
So they're completely careful. They put the camera down. Oh, look, he's hitting the car. He's hitting the lorry. Oh my goodness, what's he doing? He's telling people to do something. He's grabbing that guy.
Migrants in Calais have resorted to violence before in their bid to get to the UK. Earlier this month, pictures emerged allegedly showing a migrant in front of a truck with a chainsaw. There's also been several cases of lorries catching alight because of roadside fires started by migrants.
Hungary's Prime Minister has once again called for setting up a joint European army.
We should list the issue of security as a priority, and we should start setting up a common European army.
Orbán made the statement ahead of talks in Poland's capital Warsaw with Czech, German, Polish and Slovak leaders on Europe's post-Brexit future. His Czech counterpart Bohuslav Sobotka called for launching talks on a common European army. German Chancellor Angela Merkel supported the idea but urged caution on how plans were to be translated into action. At present, EU members are working together on a range of military matters, but the bloc does not have its own unified military. The concept of a joint army has been a thorny issue among EU members. Supporters view it as a necessity to cope with new threats from Russia and elsewhere. Many others oppose a plan beyond NATO's scope.
Reporting on the birth of the European Union Army. Well, now officials are stating that it will happen, but European Union leaders were just waiting for Britain to leave. Britain was the sole reason it had not already happened.
August 2016 is a special month for backyard astronomy. Why? Because on almost any evening in August, you can take a tour of the solar system, no telescope required. For most of the month, the 5 brightest planets, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn, have been splayed across the evening sky, with the moon hopping from one to another and highlighting each one on a different night, while acting as a helpful guide to novice skywatchers. As August comes to a close, however, no guide is needed. Something so eye-catching and beautiful is going to happen, even the least experienced skywatcher can find it without help. On August 27th, Venus and Jupiter will converge in the sunset sky, only about 1/15 of a degree apart. If you hold a pencil at arm's length, the eraser would cover both planets at once. 2 bright planets so close together are practically impossible to miss. Just make sure you have an unobstructed view of the western horizon. The converging planets might even look like they're going to touch. They won't. Venus is 144 million miles away, while Jupiter is more than 4 times farther. To the human eye, however, the distance between the two will appear breathtakingly small. At closest approach, Venus and Jupiter easily fit within the same binocular or telescopic field of view. If you have a small telescope, take a look. Because Venus is an interior planet, we sometimes see it as a crescent like the moon. But not this time. On August 27th, Venus will be nearly full. You'll see 93% of the cloudy disk of Venus illuminated by the sun. You'll also see the ruddy brown cloud belts of Jupiter and, maybe, the giant planet's largest moons. All of this will be visible, all at once, in the circumference of a single eyepiece.
How'd you get so